Hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation on IT careers and certifications. We're going to cover a few different topics, starting with what the career landscape looks like. We will of course talk about IT careers and career pathways, followed by a few employability topics, and then opportunities for working from home. And lastly, we will talk a little bit about how to make the most out of our job. I am Steve Ewing, Director of Data and IT Infrastructure here at Graduation Alliance. As you can see, I've held a number of different positions and responsibilities across a few different industries. This experience has given me some good insight into what it is like to work in different IT positions and teams across many different companies. I hope that you will find the insights that I have to offer helpful in your own career pursuits. So what kind of opportunities are available? The good news is there is a lot of opportunity because IT plays such a large role in just about everything that businesses do. And with the frequent emergence of new technologies, that creates even more opportunity. It's also driving a lot of change. One example is the amount of automation that we are seeing. And a good example of this kind of automation that we're talking about is in application provisioning. It used to be that a systems administrator would receive hardware and install it in a rack and install an operating system, and then an application team would come and install the application, and it would take days before the application was ready for use. But with virtualization and our cloud technologies, now we go to a web browser, make a few clicks, wait a couple of minutes, and we've got a VM with the application already installed, ready to go. This kind of deployment automation is really valuable to businesses because it reduces the amount of time that it takes to deploy, resources and IT solutions. Other changes that we're seeing, because there are so many new technologies, and those technologies continue to grow, the amount of knowledge and experience required for entry-level positions is also increasing. And we may experience some change to the structure and makeup of IT departments in the coming years, in part because, as I mentioned earlier, application deployments can be accomplished with a few clicks of the mouse. You don't really need an IT professional to do that anymore. So a lot of business departments are starting to become more self-sufficient in the IT arena, but they're still going to need the experience and guidance from IT professionals to customize those applications and deployments to the workflows that the business uses. So that may mean that IT professionals become integrated into other departments of the business, or it may result in something else. It's hard to see at the moment, but we will undoubtedly see some degree of change to the structure of IT departments over the next 10 to 15 years. So how do we stay informed of these changes, and how do we prepare ourselves for those changes? Definitely the best thing to do is just keep your ears open and do a lot of reading. Make sure you're reading articles about the new technologies that are coming out, and participate in group discussions where you are likely to hear about some of these changes that are coming. When you go to search for articles to read, some of the key search terms you can use include, IT landscape, disruptive technology, technology outlook, or IT industry outlook. Okay? And whatever you read or hear, it's best to remember that change takes a while to occur. So stay calm. You've got plenty of time to prepare for anything that might be coming your way. So, what is a career? Well, Merriam-Webster says, a profession for which one trains and which is undertaken as a permanent calling. Or I think more simply put, it's the type of work you are pursuing or plan to pursue. And what's a career pathway? Well, Career Trends defines it as an organized approach to career planning for anyone wanting to land a first job or improve skills for different or better job opportunities. Creating a career pathway means plotting a course for identifying occupational interests, determining education and training needs, and establishing an action plan for reaching career goals. Again, more simply, it's how you will get the job or the career that you want. Okay, let's look at a few career examples in the IT industry. And obviously, there's more than this, but these are definitely some of the more common job titles that you may find. So, architects, we've got application architects, we've got network architects, and so on. The architects are going to be responsible for designing solutions. Now, does that mean that nobody else designs solutions? No, and not everybody might have an architect on staff, but if you have someone with an architect title, they're going to be the ones who are primarily responsible for doing that design. And it's a similar case for anyone with a developer title. They're going to be responsible for creating the program or the code that does X, Y, or Z. We've got administrators. They're going to be responsible for maintaining the integrity and availability of the information systems, whether it's databases or servers or whatever. We're going to have, project managers. They're going to be responsible for coordinating all project activities, making sure that the project gets done in a timely fashion, allocating resources for the project, and so on. Analysts and specialists and technicians, they're going to be responsible for performing specific job functions. Those types of titles will typically be entry-level positions. Let's see, we've got a hardware engineer. Engineers, again, kind of like developers, anyone with an engineer title is going to be responsible for creating something. So lots of different categories of responsibilities, dealing with different pieces of information systems, but definitely lots of opportunities for anyone out there. Okay, let's get into some examples. Pathway isn't necessarily a specific way of getting into a career or going from one career to another. That is the general idea, but there's so many different ways of doing it. There's lots of flexibility here. So we'll just give a few examples. So in example 1 here, we'll talk about a person who likes setting up computer networks, and so they want a job doing the same thing. Their first steps, they're going to be researching. They're going to be finding out what job titles deal with network installations and what are the requirements for those positions. They need to make sure that they're looking at current job postings so that they understand what employers are looking for right now. It might not be the same as what it was 10 years ago if you're looking in a textbook or something. You're going to be looking for a mentor to help give you personalized guidance on how to get into that career. And then once you have the information on how to do it, you're going to go get the skills and the knowledge, the training, whatever is required to make you qualified for that position. Once qualified, then it's just a matter of seeking employment doing that job. Now, is that where the pathway stops? No, the pathway really goes further, because all the experience that you gain while you're in that job, that further develops your abilities, granting you opportunities for advancement or different job responsibilities, which may further your career pathway. And lastly, everyone should seek some opportunity to mentor others or advance the profession, because that's one of the ways that we keep the profession strong and available for subsequent generations. Okay, example 2, similar. This one is dealing with a person who's currently already in the workforce as a database administrator, but they've been doing a lot of project work, and they've decided that they want to get into project management full-time. So their pathway includes a bit of a career transition. Okay? It's similar to example 1. They're going to need to find out how to make that transition. So they're going to research, again, the job requirements for project management positions. They're going to look for a mentor to get personalized guidance on how to make that transition. And all the while they're doing this, they are going to be seeking all the opportunities they can to be involved in project management where they're currently at. Okay? That's very important. As they become more involved in project management, they're gaining more experience, which is one of the key qualifiers to being able to prove your candidacy for full-time project management. Okay, so then whatever they lack, if it's knowledge or certifications, whatever, a person's going to go obtain that knowledge, that training, and then they are ready to seek a full-time position as a project manager. And the best way to do that is within the company that they are already working for. That person should approach their supervisor and say, I would really like to move into full-time project management. How can we make that happen? It's certainly a lot easier than trying to go cold turkey and switch to a different company where nobody knows you. And you're like, well, you're currently a DBA, but you want to be a project manager, and then it's harder to prove your qualifications. Whereas if you do it within the company where you're currently at, they already know that you're involved in project management. And so it's an easier sell. Okay? Now, once you make that transition, again, you're going to continue to gain experience, which will further guide your career pathway. And you should continue to seek opportunities to mentor others and advance the professions. Let's talk now about what my career path has been like. As a child, I really enjoyed using, building, and fixing computers. So while I was at college studying information systems, I was able to land my first professional job doing computer support for the university's software development department. During my studies, I discovered that I enjoyed and was very good at the majority of the different IT disciplines. So upon graduating, I took a job as an IT consultant with the company doing project-based work for a number of clients, hoping to better understand which of these disciplines I enjoyed the most. One series of small projects helped me develop some basic database administration skills, and I later took a position with another company as a full-time database administrator. Over the next several years, I worked as a DBA for a few different companies, including Graduation Alliance, where I am now. During my time here, I've continued to use my many skills to fill a variety of different needs related to not only databases, but also IT infrastructure, application development, and project management. Unfortunately, to keep this video short, it is hard to give much detail about my positions or transitions. But the important thing to note about these is that I filled needs beyond my job description at all of the companies that I worked for. And while doing this, I was learning new skills, which helped me to be ready for not only my next job, but also for helping me fulfill many of my career goals. Your path may or may not look like mine, and it can be hard to know what the way forward can look like. This is where mentors can be particularly helpful. It is also helpful to use resources like LinkedIn, where you can see resumes or the work history of other IT professionals, which can help give you an idea of some additional potential career pathways. The 2 links listed here below may also be helpful. These are good resources for exploring various IT careers and pathways. Okay, let's take a moment to talk about what makes us employable. Okay, an understanding of what makes us employable will help us in our job hunts. Alright, so many factors come into play when we're talking about employability, but most fall into these 3 categories: skills, experience, and personality. Skills and talents are things we're capable of doing well. Experience is the wisdom that comes from working through problems. And personality is complex, but we're going to summarize it as the characteristics and values which we hold that influence our behavior. Okay? So, let's first, most of us have probably already hunted for a job before, so we have some idea of what the hiring process looks like from the candidate's perspective. So let's take a moment to discuss the hiring process from the employer's perspective. This will help you better align your job search efforts to the position and the companies that you are looking at, okay? Roughly speaking, there are 4 concerns to the employer's hiring process. 1, they have a specific need that needs filled. That's why the position is open. They'd like someone capable to fill that need, and they prefer that it be someone that they would enjoy working with. And then, of course, that need's a little bit painful, so they would like that need filled soon. That need is preventing the business from doing business the way that they would like to, right? If we can demonstrate to them that we can help them do business by filling this need in a very competent, autonomous, and responsible fashion, then we are succeeding in proving our candidacy for the position. Now, we can't forget that everybody wants to work with somebody enjoyable to work with, okay? So, how do we demonstrate to our potential employer that we are a good fit with the team, that they'll like working with us? Well, the number 1 thing for sure is maintain and show a positive attitude. Okay? That goes further than just about anything else. If you've got a positive attitude, people will presume that they will enjoy working with you, because it's a lot easier to work with someone who has a positive attitude than not. Now, filling the need soon, the best thing that we can do as candidates to help realize that for the business is to be punctual and follow up in a timely fashion, okay? Whatever you can do to make sure that you're not dragging out the hiring process, that helps put you in a good light. It shows that you are a good candidate, okay? What else helps us show that we are good candidates? Well, this is where certifications can come into play. Certifications are an excellent way to show a potential employer that you are skilled and ready to fill that position. Certifications, that's what they are. They're a testament to your knowledge and skill. From the employer's perspective, it demonstrates that a third party has already tested your proficiency to some degree. You may even have a shorter job interview because of a certification. You'll undoubtedly still be asked some technical or skill-related questions, but because the certification's already speaking to those skills, you may not be asked as many questions. And then it's important to note that a certification may carry more or less consideration on the employer's part, depending upon who issued the certification and how that particular certification aligns with the position that they have. Now, there aren't really many downsides to certifications. I mean, really, it's just there's typically a fee associated with the certification for the administration of the examination. Other than that, certifications are a great way to go. Here are some examples of some pretty common entry-level certifications. You'll notice that CompTIA is a certifying body that has a number of entry-level certifications available. And they've got programs or certifications for good general knowledge on these topics. Now, if you're going to apply for a position that deals with a specific platform or product, then you're probably going to want to look at certifications for that particular platform or product. Examples of these can be seen here with the Microsoft, Apple, and Oracle certifications. Those are all certifications for a specific technology created by each of those companies. Okay, we should also mention degrees and diplomas because they're very similar to certifications and help in the same way because they are also a testament to your knowledge or skill in some area. The real differences between these and certifications are the depth or breadth of knowledge that is being attested to and the manner in which that knowledge or skill is obtained. Now, this is usually because to acquire a degree or a diploma, you're typically involved in some amount of coursework that covers one or more topics. And that coursework will involve a number of different learning methods, potentially including projects. So degrees and diplomas often speak to a greater rigor in which the skill or knowledge was obtained. So how do we go about finding an IT job? Well, it's very helpful to know where employers are looking for candidates. That makes it a lot easier for us to get in front of those potential employers. Often, employers will look within their own company, but they may also be looking to post the job on the company website, on job search sites, social networks, and some even still post in newspapers or other print periodicals. There's also the possibility that the employer will engage a recruiter to help them look for candidates. From the employee's perspective, if those are the places where they're looking, then we should be networking. Through networking, we'll be able to find those job openings where the employer is looking within their own company for someone. Our connections to professionals there can give us a conduit through which to get our resume to the hiring manager. If they're posting on the internet somewhere, then job search engines are going to be a good way to find those postings. Also, if there are specific companies that you are targeting, then go look at their career page. Most companies will post positions that they have on their own website. And then if companies are using recruiters, you can use recruiters too. They'll get you in front of a lot of companies in a short period of time. But be sure to pursue the companies you're interested in if that recruiter doesn't have relationships with those companies. Okay? Where to focus your energy so you get the most bang for your buck? Well, 4 of the things that you're likely to get the best return on include tailoring your resume to the job that you are applying for. Okay? When you do this, you're showing the employer how you match up to their idea of the ideal candidate. You should also perfect your resume. Don't let a single grammatical, spelling, or formatting error through. Okay? This is an example of your work product. I know when I am hiring for a position, I typically discard the resumes that have these kinds of errors because I'm looking for somebody who has a good work product. Getting an insider recommendation, from somebody already inside the company who potentially knows the hiring manager can go a long way to helping you get an interview. And of course, you should be sure to thank the hiring manager for their consideration and time, because common courtesy goes a long way toward demonstrating that you're a good fit. Let's take an opportunity to discuss opportunities for working from home. Generally speaking, working from home can be on either an occasional or permanent basis. Many IT positions these days allow for at least some remote work, but there are also positions where the remote work is permanent. Now, I'm not aware of any specific jobs or job titles that will always be work from home or work from the office, but some of the factors that would be involved in determining whether or not a position can be worked remotely involve the nature of the work, the company's culture, the company's experience with remote collaboration technologies. So if they're already accustomed to working with remote employees, there's going to be more opportunity for the same. Your personal abilities to work autonomously and your personality, because if your supervisor doesn't believe that you're going to be able to accomplish the work when you are out of the office because you're not proactive or something, you're less likely to get this kind of a remote work position. So be sure that you demonstrate that you can work remotely. How do we go about looking for remote work? Well, there are definitely companies that have permanent remote positions, and they will advertise those positions as such. Keywords that you're going to want to look for in job postings include home-based or remote or similar words. Okay? Now, those may also apply to occasional work from home positions as well. But typically those are going to have statements in the job description like, can work from home occasionally or something. Job postings, that's one place to look. In fact, some of the job search engines even have a field where you can put in the home-based keyword or check a box or something. You can also look at startups. Oftentimes, startups don't have an office that they work out of right out of the gate, and so it's not uncommon for people to be working remotely out of their house. Now, there are other concerns and risks with working for a startup, but it is one potential place to look for remote work. You can always negotiate with your current employer. There's always the possibility that you might be able to do at least occasional work from home with the position that you are currently in. So while I said earlier that there's no specific job titles that I'm aware of that are always based from home or that are always remote work, the following is a list of some of the job titles that frequently can be based remotely. Those include data entry, phone or chat-based tech support. Some development can be done remotely. Online education, kind of like what we're doing right here. I can make this video from wherever I want. You can teach an online IT class. Then there's also freelancer work. You can work for yourself, and that gives you some flexibility on where you work. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of working from home. Well, as you can imagine, that 10-second commute from your kitchen over to your office saves you a lot of time commuting, and doesn't cost you much to do that. You also get a fair bit of flexibility, oftentimes in your work schedule, but also in your work environment. You can choose to work at a desk, or standing at the kitchen counter, or sitting on the couch. You get some more control over your work environment. Now, there are a few cons to working from home, and one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, is if you're working from home on a permanent or near permanent basis, you're getting very little face time with your supervisor, with the management team in general, and other people who might be able to influence your advancement within the company. So that goes kind of hand in hand with probably the thing that's reported most frequently as being a major con to working from home, and that is this feeling of being left out of the loop. That's just kind of the way that things often happen with remote work employees. I mean, the reasons probably differ from company to company, but if you're working from home, chances are, you're not going to be as in the loop as you would be if you're in the office. You may even be asked to provide your own equipment if you're working from home. So, I guess that could fall under a pro or a con, depending on your perspective. But then another potential con is your work-life boundaries are a little more blurry. Now, you can certainly mitigate that to a degree by having a dedicated workspace in your home when you work from home. In fact, that's highly recommended to keep your productivity up. But keeping that boundary there, that can be challenging at times. Now let's talk a little bit about how to be happy in your job. This is a topic that I think is pretty darn important. If you look at a lot of the employment surveys out there, you'll find that a large portion of the respondents said that they were unhappy with their job. Now, I recently found some research done by the Mayo Clinic that showed the people who spent about 20% of their time doing the part of their job that they enjoyed the most, that they really liked, those people were pretty happy with their jobs. If you can manage to spend 20% of your time or so doing those parts of the job that you enjoy the most, you're far more likely to be happy. Now, how do you make sure that you can spend 20% of your time doing those things? Well, another piece of advice that I've often heard is whatever job you get, make it your own. Well, so what does that mean? Well, we have some influence over what our job entails. So as you go about your job, don't just react to the circumstances, but take a proactive approach to the issues that you are presented with at work and the requests made of you. And do what you can to involve the elements of your job that you really enjoy in all of those activities and requests that come your way. In doing so, you can bring some of that enjoyment into most aspects of your job. And, if you see a need within the company that isn't being filled and you think you would really enjoy doing that, there's no reason why you can't talk to your supervisor about it and maybe take on some more responsibility or transition to a position where you are doing the type of work that you really enjoy doing. There's lots of options, and mostly it's up to you to be proactive about finding a way to make those things part of your daily job. Here are some additional resources that you might find useful in your pursuit of your desired IT career. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I wish you the best of luck in your pursuits. Thank you very much.